Check, check, mic check. If anybody tried to watch the video from Monday, you remember two things about Monday's video. Remember when I was standing up here saying, hey, the people at home aren't going to see me pointing up here. Well, funny story about that was, I believe when I was bumping these buttons up here, it changed it to this webcam right here, which was recording me pointing at the projector, saying that people at home would not see me point at the projector. So that was irony number one. Not an irony number two, but number two issue. Apparently there was a really high-pitched squeal in the video. Did that happen for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So I logged a need report, and I now have one of these handy-dandy little blue microphones like Stoney and Bill use. It's on loan from the IT services. But Mark, you tested it with the regular microphone, right?
Yeah.
And it works? So I don't know what it was, an anomaly. So hopefully if you're going to be watching the videos, you won't. Who started watching it and was like, I'm not watching it with a stupid squeal in it? Bree is the one that found that. She was watching it in my office. And so shout out to Bree. Thanks for that. So let's close that. Let's go here and just kind of recoup where we were. So again, welcome to WordPress. Yay! So in conversating with a couple people in the Web 200 class, well, let's say it like this. I was talking to somebody in the Web 200 class, and I made the statement of, well, if you know how to use WordPress, by all means, do your site in WordPress in the Web 200 class, if you know how. And the person said to me, well, I've used WordPress, I've built the site in WordPress. And my answer was, did you build a custom theme or not? No, I used a pre-existing theme. Okay. So basically, she then, and this is not an insult to her, basically, she built a WordPress site using an existing theme. Right? And Mark will tell you how that goes, especially when they want changes to said theme. So what I said then was, in the WEB170 class, I am going to show you how to use WordPress, the admin, the dashboard, etc., to build a website for a client or for yourself using a pre-existing theme. But then half of this class, at least half of this class, is going to be, if not more than half the class, is going to be you developing your own theme. Okay, so what the goal, one of my primary goals is out of this class is thus. In the Web 210 class, if I go to projects and I go to this really crappy project right here. Hold on. I'm pointing to their old domain, their staging server, wjga.net. So I need to change that URL. This crappy site right here. She is. So part of the thing is she'll be, she is taking this class. Oh. She's just taking it via YouTube. So she is going to be, she who shall not be named, right, is going to, I know 100%, going to watch this video that we're recording right now. Yeah. So watch what you say, my man. So when I say, because you don't want to get beaten up, I'm not going to get in between that, all right? So when I say this crappy website, I say that in probably 110% sarcasm, right? Meaning, this is a fantastically designed and built website out of the Web 210 class. Okay, so Brianna Carly, excuse me, was on that team. Christina Petri, I think, was on that team. Mike Murphy was on that team. Victoria Moisienko, if I pronounced that right, was on the team. And Ben Clement, I believe, was on the team. So they had 3 designers and 2 developers. That this was a really, really huge site. Okay, but this theme right here, then, that they are using, and right now doesn't have any events because they haven't uploaded any events. This is all custom design and custom built. This is not using a pre-existing WordPress theme. Okay? So when we were talking on Monday about why you would want to use WordPress versus something like Squarespace or like Wix, okay? Again, it depends on the project. If you are basically a restaurant that you just need a menu up and some photos up, Squarespace might be great for you. But if you are a site like this that has lots of custom functionality and lots of pages, right, you are going to need something customly designed and built for you. So therefore, instead of using static HTML, right, like you did in Web 110, Web 120, and even Web 200, in Web 200 and Web 120, you used what I call semi-dynamic, meaning it didn't write to nor pull from a database, right, like you learn how to do in the 240, 250 classes. But this is then a truly dynamic website built using the WordPress platform that then I applaud all of you for not telling me that I missed the .com part. Who counted to 3? Anybody?
We figured out.
I know. I'm referencing my 3-second rule. So for instance, this stuff right here is the GitHub repository. This is the front page, the home page, right? So right here you can see the comment of show 4 latest posts. 1, 2, 3, 4 latest posts, etc. So it is all custom developed using the WordPress framework. Okay, so I am hopefully going to hand over a learning outcome to you out of this class so that when you take the Web 210 class, yeah, I didn't cover everything that you might need to know in Web 170, but at least you will have a real foundational, fundamental. So let's say you wanted to, I don't know, finally develop that brain cancer website that you've been meaning to do. Sorry, Paige, I'm kidding.
Did Luis work?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Luis yet, but he was working on it.
Okay,
Yeah, I talked to him last quarter, and he said he was working on it, and I haven't heard anything from the client. Let's put it that way.
Good.
So, you
Best of
know,
luck with that.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
But anyhow, this is going to be a learning outcome from this class so that you can take your design from, like I said, Web 200, right? Or whatever design you have customly done and actually produce it in WordPress, right? So why is that good? You guessed it. You're going to get real sick of my samples. Get over it. You too can make $6,000. You can do stuff like this. So in other words, Anna,
Yes.
the skincare website,
Yeah.
is it Skin Surgery Center?
Yeah.
If you were to, what the work that you're doing on that website that you started in Web 200, and then if you took this class and then polished it off,
Yeah, I was gonna do that.
that's $6,000 worth of work.
Awesome, I could use that.
Yes, is kind of my point, right? So, or potentially more, right? But some way, shape, or form, the long and the short is what I'm saying is Jet City is a nonprofit theater company that I was charging them about $60 an hour for about 100 hours worth of work to customly design, develop, produce, whatever, their current website. That, to quote Mark Pfaff from earlier today, what'd you say? Oh, that looks like them. Something like that. I wouldn't hate that. Something like that, right?
What was it? It looks like a site that fits who they are.
Exactly, for 6K. 6K is my point here. So, given that, what is WordPress and why should you care? WordPress is a powerful and fascinating open source project and content management system, also known as a CMS, for bloggers, web designers, and developers. Again, one of the statistics that I've heard thrown around all over the interwebs is that now almost 25% of websites run off WordPress.
Yeah.
Really? Pardon my language, but holy shit, right? That's good. So it is, I'll speak for my own personal opinion, my own, what I would do if I were still freelancing today. I don't have to freelance anymore. I get to deal with you guys full time instead of clients now, right? I like that much better. But to do any kind of small business brochureware, minimal functionality in terms of like Nico. This is what I was telling you in the Web 200 class. So I'm going to make an example out of Nico right now. Hopefully you don't mind. Hi, Nico. So you're going to be doing a website for a theater that's in, where is it?
It's in my hometown, Okanagan.
Where's that?
It's in eastern Washington, next to Winthrop.
Fabulous. So it's a theater probably along the lines of this, somewhat, right?
It was
Well,
built in the 20s.
sure.
Neat.
Yeah. So WordPress can definitely handle all of that type of functionality. Now, where we got stuck was we originally wanted to be able to buy tickets within the website, okay? So you could, that then would be some kind of development work that you may or may not be able to do internally. Now, what they did with this, and then, you know how you hand something off to clients and they just kind of screw it all up and kind of take over what you did, and you can't prevent that. These are very nice people. I love them, right? But moving on. So to buy this, I think is clunky. Buy tickets, choose your show. It originally went, the buy tickets went to the master.
Oh my goodness.
Right. I should talk to them. Mark, you should talk to them about that. Because now Mark is doing the work for them, not doing it. Right? Okay. As an employee of Premium Design Works. So I'm still hanging on to that. But one way, shape, or form, it sends it to an external site because to do the ticket buying within WordPress, then either one or two things would have had to happen. This company, Salesforce, would have had to develop a plugin for WordPress or allow me to access their database, right? Where I've done it before, we're on a static website. There was a company a long time ago, I don't know if it's still around, called My Emma that I was able to hook a form up on a static website to then send data to their database to sign up for mailing list kind of stuff. Salesforce would not give me any kind of access to do that kind of transaction. So unfortunately, we had to go to a third-party route. But if at all, any of it is ever going to be a PHP and MySQL environment, there's no way, shape, or form why any developer cannot do whatever they need to do within PHP and MySQL to integrate into WordPress. So that's the beauty of it being the open source, right? So what I get, it's Thomas, right?
Yes.
So like what you were asking me today, you were in my office saying, well, for this WordPress site, can you do X, Y, and Z? And my answer is, well, either there is a plugin that has already been built to do X, Y, and Z. The problem with plugins is they don't always do X, Y, and Z the way you want it to do. So if you ever come across the I have to modify a plugin, right, be careful with that. But if it's going to be based off of PHP and MySQL, there's no reason why, and what plugins do is you can then access the database for your WordPress site and snap in any tables to that database that you want to. That's what a lot of plugins do. So anything that can be done in PHP and MySQL can be integrated into WordPress is the bottom line, right? Does that make sense? So again, WordPress, state-of-the-art publishing platform with a focus on aesthetics, web standards, usability. WordPress is both free and priceless at the same time.
Aww.
Oh, I'm quoting them. So that's their smugness, right? I should smug them on Facebook for that. So
Twitter would probably do that.
Twitter would be better. For reference, everybody knows the smug alert from South Park. That video. I had to post that as comments on some people's Facebook pages over the spring break. Let's just leave it at that. Look it up. You'll understand what I'm saying. More simply, WordPress is what you use when you want to work with your blogging software, not fight it. So blogging. Well, the argument that I heard over the last few years, which is certainly diminished, is, yeah, well, WordPress is for bloggers. It's not a real CMS. It's for bloggers. So my answer was, oh, so you're talking about a system that will manage content for bloggers? Yeah. So it's a system that will manage content. Oh, that's a content management system, isn't it? Yeah, see how I reversed that on them? Yeah.
All I see is you keep saying these words, but I don't think you know what they mean.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, it started off, it was a platform that bloggers first used. It was a platform that actually directly competed with LiveJournal and Blogger and those types of platforms. But because it is open source, right? And again, my opinion, I would argue that while being open source doesn't necessarily mean usable, right? Like I said, Joomla and Drupal seem to have gone, not by the wayside, but WordPress has simply outnumbered them, however you want to say that, because of the usability behind WordPress from developers like myself. Again, when we were talking the other day about have you used Drupal, have you used WordPress, and I was talking about when I was trying to do things like pull attachment images out of Drupal, I couldn't figure out how to do it as easily as I could figure it out how to do it in WordPress. So therefore, and the thing with WordPress and the thing with Drupal as well, Drupal doesn't update as regularly as WordPress does, right? So Drupal will go Drupal 4, Drupal 5, Drupal 6. So it'll be a couple of years between updates versus WordPress is constantly making little changes all the way along.
I I went home and asked my husband about Drupal, and he was like, WordPress is great, but Drupal's web scale.
Drupal's what?
Web scale.
Web scale. What does he mean by that? Or is that a buzzword that he picked out of somewhere to argue with you?
It's not a buzzword, but he basically was like, if you need to manage like tons and tons and tons of pages, you have to use something like Drupal.
Google says it's the reference to a global class of computing or architectural approach used to deliver the capabilities of large cloud service providers. within
Sure.
the internet.
So like size wise.
So I'm going to say it like this. Pages, okay, Drupal is built off of blocks and modules, right? So there are 3 to 4 steps versus 1 step in WordPress. So I would argue that, here's how I would argue that. Bullshit, from my experience using it since 2007. And if you want to play this video back for your husband, I'd probably advise not to, right? But here's what I'm saying. I have not met a website. Well, let's say it like this. How big is my website right here? How many pages?
Not very many.
Yes. How many pages in my school website?
200. I would say hundreds.
200?
1,000?
I can't remember. I'm guessing 275.
I'm just taking a lot of classes for this, so I know.
Yeah.
Did I open a can of worms with this?
No.
Okay.
I am going to basically prove my point.
Okay.
For a lot of pages, $290 pages, 412 posts. I've been able to do every last thing that I've wanted to be able to do on my website using WordPress. Now, there are things that I wish I could do better than I'm currently doing, like my grade system. My grade system is kind of clunky. Why is it kind of clunky? The answer is because I didn't do it. The answer is because I did not design and develop my grading system. I used a plugin, okay, versus designing and developing a whole lot of other things in my website, right? So it's all relative to what you're trying to achieve. But my answer again is this. There is not anything PHP, MySQL related that WordPress will not allow you to do, right? So from somebody who has used both, has your husband used WordPress and Drupal?
He works for a CMS, like they sell CMS software of their own.
Okay,
They
fair enough.
License it to people.
Okay,
It's called Ingenix.
okay, fair enough.
So they
I would, like I said, I would just argue that, well, you can do whatever you want to in WordPress as long as you know how to write it in PHP and MySQL. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It'll take you the time to develop it. But in terms of what is the real core why you would want to use WordPress? Well, I'll answer this here in a second. But what exactly is a blog? Okay, because WordPress started off as a blogging system. So what do I mean by blog? Isn't it amazing that I ask questions and the answer is just right up there on the projector and nobody will raise their hand to get that answer?
This is simply amazing.
It's amazing. So what is a blog?
Sir, a blog, the term blog is a compound word formed from the words web and log. See also website.
Exactly. I like you. So, yes, blog is a compound word meaning log or a weblog, blog. So what that really means is any kind of system, any kind of website that keeps a chronological, timely order of postings. For instance, I have been keeping a traditional blog for myself here for quite a number of years, right? So I don't post as much as I would like to. Again, why does the cobbler's kids have no shoes, right? Because they just don't have time to make shoes for their kids. But I would like to post more than I actually do. But in terms of web and log, I am having a chance to, or I have a chance to share with the interwebs or just the public at large in general about things that are important to me, and I share them in a chronological order, right? So this is how WordPress started off here, as a platform to do just this with pre-existing templates that you could do it on WordPress.com, okay? So most blogs offer the following features: automatic creation of web pages based on the contents of posts, automatic formatting of web pages based on a predefined template or a theme, the ability to include text, images, media via a rich text editor, the ability for readers to comment, create a discussion, links to related sites or blogs of similar content. In other words, Huffington Post, Daily Kos, whatever website that you want to throw out there. MSNBC, I think, works off of WordPress now, right? But blogs have basically matured into, or sites like I said, Huffington Post. I don't know if Huffington Post works off of WordPress, but I know MSNBC does, right? So I think, let's check. Last I checked. Again, I'm not trying to be political in the classroom here. I'm just merely showing an example that I know about. Hopefully I'm not wrong. Hopefully they didn't switch over to Drupal, because that would really suck.
What are you looking for that will tell you whether it's WordPress or not?
Yep. I don't think. I'm looking for WP. Oh. Maybe they did change it over to something else, right? So maybe I'm full of shit and we just shouldn't even have the class, right? But one way, shape, or form, let's go to the WordPress showcase. Featured business sites. Recently added sites. Has anybody heard of Walt Disney? Walt Disney, anybody?
Never.
Doesn't he play with rats?
They still
They have a
around?
mouse. They're a mouse.
There's a mouse. This is a WordPress site. Another site that I know of that is WordPress. So here's what I'm looking for, Mary, when I'm looking through the code. If I search for WP, you will typically see WP content, WP includes, right? So let's say this right here, and again, for those of you at home that don't know I'm pointing at the projector, unless this is switched over to this camera. Let's check. Nope, I'm still on the screen. So this, where is it? Style.css right here. That is the link to the style sheets, right? That the theme is called Boundless. The theme is in the WP content folder in home static at washington.edu. Okay. So for sites of, I don't know, would you consider the UW and Walt Disney to be pretty big sites? Enough. Right. But I would argue that the University of Washington and all the crap that they have to feature in that website is a pretty big site, right? So not to argue, you know, but not to be a jerk.
Like if you go to the WordPress.org website, there is basically on the right hand side the WordPress users, and it's got kind of the top like site. You can just see them all categorized.
Right here. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's where I went to just showcase. If you go to WordPress.org showcase, that's where, you know, the Herald Sun.
Fortune and Time will use it.
Yeah. So I'm looking for technology, people, education, entertainment. BBC America, Riverdance. You can't go wrong with Riverdance.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg. Ooh, I know of one.
We're just going in now.
I'm just gonna knock you.
Yeah. Greg Brady uses WordPress.
That is the ultimate pitch.
That is the ultimate pitch.
I think WordPress with Chuck Yeager is great.
But one way, shape, or form, my point is this. WordPress can handle very, very large websites. That's all my point is that I'm trying to argue on videotape that you can show to your husband.
I'm not gonna show him, but okay.
Right. I applaud you in not showing it to him. Right?
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Exactly. And the last thing I want to do is, you know,
Start shit.
well, me,
Come on,
right?
now.
So how, oh, it's on the other one. So let's say, where can I find WordPress? Or what are the two common, how does WordPress fulfill out there in the world? However you want to say that. Again, Jonathan, you were asking me, what's the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org? Okay. So WordPress.com then is where you can sign up to have a blog for free, right? And you would then have a blog, let's say, I think my blog is mikesankula.wordpress.com. Which I believe I have forwarding to my Mike Sankula account if I've been paying my bills.
Yeah, you can with this job.
Doesn't exist. Something happened. I remember a long time ago, I signed up for a WordPress.com account just to start exploring with WordPress. So basically what you can do is, you know, you can sign up and does anybody have like, did anybody ever use Blogger or LiveJournal or any one of those types of things?
Yes, I still do.
Right. So that is basically what WordPress.com does. Okay. Did you have your hand up? You had your hand up.
I was going to say it's instant cooler at WordPress.com.
It is. You stalk me, don't you?
No, I was trying to.
No, he's not.
Because I like you, Milo. It's fine if you're stalking me, dude. I don't care. I got nothing to hide, man. WordPress.com. So this should forward to my blog. Yes. Okay. So I did have an account that I forwarded a long time ago. Okay. But one way, shape, or form, the downfall of hosting and creating one here is that you won't be able to make a custom theme and get FTP access or shell access, right, to modify your theme. So therefore, if you want to then host a website like the Washington Junior Golf Association, your jetcityimprov.org, your life and times of a professional 12-year-old, etc., you are then going to want to go to WordPress.org, and this is where eventually we are going to be downloading the WordPress application. Okay? So what is that WordPress application? I will be using Dreamweaver in this class. You can too. Or, I don't care what you use. Doesn't matter to me, right? I just grew up using Dreamweaver, and I don't want to say I'm not,
You're biased towards it.
I don't want to say I'm biased. I'm not. I don't want to go explore something. I'm not brave enough to go out and explore something else.
You don't like change.
I'm in my safe little bubble.
You're comfortable.
I'm
You're a
comfortable.
lot like me. You don't like change.
Right. Except for, I use Dreamweaver. Here's why I've stuck with Dreamweaver over the years. Primarily because I have a code editor that then has a site manager built in with it. Okay. So if I am going to, and this is where I say if I am going to be using FTP access, I will use Dreamweaver. If I am going to be using shell access to then pull my theme from GitHub to my server, I will use brackets so that I don't have the FTP window open, so I don't things up, right? But in this class, we are going to be using FTP access, right? I suppose I could get in via, how many of you have done shell access pulling from GitHub?
As I say, if we know if you want us to use it.
That's up to you, my friend. Yeah, if you want to basically, like I said, if you have, a site like mine here, right, that all my files are sitting on my server, and at this point in time, I am not using FTP access to upload my theme like I used to. Instead, my theme, every time I am making edits to my theme, for instance, when I updated the Flex Gallery using shortcode, I basically then uploaded it to GitHub and then went in via shell access to pull from GitHub to my server so that I'm truly using version control the way version control is supposed to exist. Now, if you know that methodology, great, knock yourself out. However, you are still going to need FTP access to set up WordPress on your server. Once you are to the point that you are just updating your theme week by week, then yeah, I would. So you started off that process from Web 2.10, right, with your team, and so you know that process.
I know enough to get done.
Sure, and that's the process that I worked on with what's that idiot's name, Thomas.
Yeah, he just seemed to push that so hard.
Yeah.
You know, so
I feel like it's.
And I say idiot because I love the guy. He's like Thomas, right? In other words, here's what I'm saying. I bow down to Thomas is what I'm saying. So in the Web 210 class, we use the following workflow, where we have individual developers working in a local environment on their own computers. Did you use Vagrant? Yeah. I'm going to have everybody, so I may be doing Web 210, ITC 210 all by myself again this summer, right? And possibly in the fall. We haven't crossed that bridge. But if I am, I'm going to have everybody use MAMP. I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but not too much of a tangent, right? MAMP.org? No.
MAMP.info.
MAMP.info?
Yeah, MAMP and MAMP Pro.
Let's just do this, MAMP Pro. So I am going to have everybody use the free version of MAMP instead of using Vagrants, which basically MAMP, and if you want to do that in here, hey man, that's great. What I do need in here though is I need your thing on your staging server to preview. I need your code on GitHub. So whether you're doing, so Paige, if I were you, this might be a good exercise in doing this because you've learned it and become more of an expert in it. I would very much encourage you to do that, right? Yes, I have MAMP on my Mac, right? And the pro version I have on my Mac. The free version, you would have to stick everything in the htdocs folder. It's a little, $60 maybe? I don't know. One way, shape, or form, what MAMP will do is MAMP will set up an environment on your laptop or your home computer, your own computer. It will set up a PHP MySQL environment, okay? Which basically what we're doing now is, so if these three individual developers, right, were working on their laptops, they would, all of them have a local environment of WordPress, and then they would develop the theme on their laptops or their home computers or wherever, okay? They would then, after each one of them did changes, they would push to GitHub. So let's say individual developer 1 was working on something today, and individual developer 2 and 3 were at the beach doing nothing, right? Because whatever, they had the day off. Individual developer 1 pushed their stuff to GitHub. Developer 2 and 3 could open up GitHub and sync where those changes would pull to those individual developers. So then all three of them would be in sync. Once they made the changes that they needed to do, again, this is what I consider to be agile development, right? So to quote Thomas Wilburn, agile development, you always have a working piece of software. Meaning, as you are making changes to your product, you are doing them locally with your team, right? Once you are ready to pull them to the live server then, you would go in via terminal or PuTTY or whatever shell access, right? And you would log in and then you would have to, has anybody ever made private public keys before? Your developers did that probably, okay? So in other words, you would have to have a key that the private key is on your server and your public one is on GitHub, or do I have that backwards?
I don't remember.
That's it?
Your private would have to be on your server, on your computer.
Okay. So one way, shape, or form, the keys talk to each other, right? And so if you log into your server, you can then connect to GitHub and then do a pull request where you will be in your server via SSH shell access, and you will pull the latest version of your GitHub repository to your server. Okay, that's how we do it in Web 2.10. That is how, since and here's the thing, I was really scared of doing that, right? Oh my God, Thomas, help me get over this hump. And then finally, when I figured out how to do it, I was like, holy shit, that's really easy. Why haven't I been doing it for this whole time?
Yeah.
Why have I? Oh, well, I just log into terminal and I say git pull origin master after I get there. Oh, well, that's pretty easy. So anyway, so if you don't know this routine, just do FTP, meaning in this class, I am going to be doing FTP with you, right? So here is on my staging area, WEB170, premiumdw.com. How many tabs do I have open now? Who's keeping track? Adam, you're the one keeping track, right?
It's not as much as last time.
Okay. I saw that GIF you posted on Twitter. Was that you?
Yeah. That was pretty good though, wasn't it?
It was pretty fun. It was really fun. So here is on my WEB170 premiumdw.com. Then my proto site is in a folder called WordPress. Okay. Last year, along with the class, I did this one, WordPress-SP15. This year, I'm going to say SP16, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. Okay? So, but if I go back one stage, if I open both local and remote, my staging area that you guys will need to do as well, meaning, and I'll get to the staging area assignment here in a while, but I'm going to ask that all of you put something up like this, right? And when you do your templates, you are going to post them where I can view them. When you do your templates, you are going to post it where I can see your code. Likewise, your proto site or your WordPress site, I'm going to want to be able to view it from the front end and then see the code on the back end, right? So, there's that index file. And then in there, I have the WordPress install. And I have the WordPress SP15 install. Okay? So basically, if I open that up, that's WordPress right there. So you will be downloading from WordPress.org. You will be downloading WordPress as a big box package, zip file. You will be uploading it to your server wherever you need it to live. Okay? You will then also have to create a database that you will have to connect to. Once WordPress connects to your database, it'll install the tables in said database and install everything. We'll get into that more in detail next week when we start talking about installing. But WordPress is nothing more than a bunch of PHP files that write to and pull from a MySQL database, right? Utilizing HTML and CSS and JavaScript and Ajax and other stuff and blah, blah, blah. But essentially, it is just one big ball of files, right, as an application. So that's what you will then be downloading from WordPress.org here. Okay, make sense? Administration screens. We'll get into administration screens here in a second. Right here, you can see mic test squee 2. These videos no longer live on YouTube. That was Mark testing the little squee in the microphone in WEB200. Did you come up with those names, or did Alec? You came up with them?
No, it was all.
Yeah, it was all me.
It was all you? It's awesome. So, how does WordPress work? Why would I want to use it? So, Nico, you said something earlier that I really latched onto. Pages. Pages. What is a website?
It's a bunch of pages.
Thank you. That's the web design program here at Seattle Sunshine. You now have your degree. Yes, it is a bunch of pages and or postings. Okay. So if I were to then I'm going to clients.premiumdw, right? I'm going to my website, but then clients from hell shows up in my Google search. It's pretty funny. I'm just trying to type in a URL, man. That's all I'm trying to do. Yeah. So, if we go to this information architecture right here, page, 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 page. What's up, Paige? Page, postings. Okay, so what I'm going to say, how I define this is, yeah, you're right. It's a series of pages that then are part of your information architecture. Okay? Then, if you want to have a blog in your website, WordPress defines them as postings. Okay? And here I'm going to really blow your mind. However, if your blog is not on your homepage, your repository of postings are within a page. Right, look on Anna's face. Here's what I mean. Page, 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 page. Hi, Page. Contact, page. If I go to this blog page, then, this blog page wait for it, it's good. Don't slow clap me, you bastard. That was not an appropriate slow clap moment.
that a little poo?
That icon right there? Yes.
Spiral.
Professional code.
Have you met me?
No.
Would you like to meet me? Right, exactly. Hey man, have you ever used the poo emoji when you've been?
I am very familiar with the poo emoji. I was just surprised you used it on your title page.
Yeah, yeah. There's lots of stuff hidden around like that all over my websites. Oh, come on, internet. The internet has been having trouble here. So again, page. If we then go to, come on, do it. God damn it.
Well, now we really can't do it.
Welcome to Seattle Central, because I believe the whole internet or the connection is going down.
I actually have this belief that if you have too many tabs open, it slows down.
In Chrome, it actually does. It's not a belief, it's a fact.
Oh, good. I'm not crazy.
No, you're not crazy at all. I don't think my server went down, did it? There we go.
I was having trouble looking at your site from my house.
Really?
I had problems with like pages loading and like calendar widget taking up too much.
Yeah, the calendar widget in my school site is really, I like it a lot, but it has slowed down my site considerably. But anyway, so here is my blog page, okay? In my blog page then, I have a posting feed, okay, of chronological articles that then, when I open them, they go under a chronological date. Okay? So WordPress then runs off of, if we go into the dashboard here, yeah, that calendar widget is really powerful. Why I switched, or that calendar plugin, why I switched over to that calendar was because I could then feed into my site my calendar from my Mac, right? From the, the public URL, just like a Google Calendar. With the other one, I couldn't do that. So that's why I did that. But anyhow, here we are then in the dashboard admin section of my website, right? So if you look at the URL, it says WP admin, okay? Here we have 29 pages and 13 posts. So if I go and take a look at pages then, they are the pages from my information architecture, okay? Now I do have a hidden portion of my site, not necessarily hidden, but is something that I am not having show up in the navigation, where when I first started doing WordPress stuff I started doing WordPress about 2008. In 2009, I was redesigning the Rehabilitation Institute of Washington website, and I housed the client staging area underneath my root of my domain. Once I did that, I got through that project. I thought to myself, that's not very practical nor effective with what I'm trying to do. And then I actually quit freelancing to go back and do my master's degree. But eventually, and I'm kind of going on a side tangent here, but eventually what I did was, now I have for clients, I have another WordPress install, clients.premium, that then this is now my new client staging area. right? So I'm basically keeping a public blog as my client staging area, right? But going back to this, so here are then my sets of pages. So if we looked at, for instance, my services page, let's say the search engine optimization page here. This is where in WordPress then, if you set up a page, come on, where's the little handle? You will then have a what looks to be kind of a Microsoft Word environment, right? To put your text into and your images, and also short code. So this right here where you see case study ID 2051, right? So if I go to my services page and I go to then search engine optimization, here is the text in there. Here is that case study ID 2051. So what I can do is present a title, an image, an excerpt, and a read more link of a posting into a page, right? Via a function. So this is where I'm saying you don't need a plugin for everything, right? Originally, for this, a few years ago, 2 years ago, maybe or so, 3 probably, I was looking for a way to bring in a featured posting into one of my pages. So what did I do? I Googled that. And I found a plugin that let me do it right on the spot, but that plugin did not allow me to link this image or that title to the posting, where I wanted the functionality of, I want that title to take me to that posting, I want that image to take me to that posting, and I wanted to have a read more link that took me to that posting. So this is where the plugin that I found did about 85% of what I wanted it to do, and a whole lot more that I didn't need, right? So instead, what did I do? I wrote down on a piece of paper, also called a mental note. I didn't write it down. I just, up here, said to myself, well, what do I want to do? I want to bring a featured posting of my choosing into the page at that spot. I want to bring in the title. I want to bring in the featured image. I want to bring in the excerpt and have a read more link and have it go to that page. So that's where then I wrote a function called get featured case study. There is a function here in WordPress that says add shortcode, or this is how you convert your function into being shortcode. So here is the function, right? Case study then, that becomes the piece of shortcode with the ID of that posting that I want to bring in. Yes, I'm bypassing that comment on in there, and I should probably delete that.
I like it too. I think it's fun. Like a little Easter egg.
Those are the Easter eggs that are everywhere. Do you have any idea what we're talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have to entertain myself. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's mildly offensive.
Mildly?
Mildly.
I should delete it, shouldn't I? No? Okay.
You didn't ask for beer.
Huh?
You didn't ask for beer.
Not in class. So, postings then are items that are represented in a chronological and news-like fashion. Pages are main and subcategories of your website's information architecture, right? Your home page, your gateway, your destination page, right? So postings are basically the foundation upon which blogs were built once upon a time, or they're the foundation of websites, like I said, the Huffington Post, news article websites, right? So here is where on my school site, that used to look like my business site once upon a time. This is where on my school site, I am choosing to feed my chronological postings via a title, via an excerpt, a read more link, and then a title and a category. Okay, so if we went to this one, oh, by the way, Morgan McCrinkles, also known as Morgan Masenka, is a former SCC, or back when it was still community college. So she graduated from here, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, a while back. She works at a company called EventCore, and they need some web producers and a project manager. And she is saying that apply and also CC her on the application so that she knows that you're a Seattle Central student. Okay. She's awesome and one of our grads. So if I then go to edit this post, this is where, again, same thing, it's a posting. That is just a bunch of text that has a category of jobs. I don't have a featured image for it. It has an excerpt. It has a title. It is published on this date. So if I view this posting, then you see that it gets shown into my site via the title of the posting underneath the chronological date under my website. So a lot of blogs that started out way back when, including my blog here, use the front page as their chronological blog. Okay? You don't have to have it done like that. You can do it where your blog then is tucked under another section or another page. Okay, so if we went in and then edited this page, this is where it says you are currently editing the page that shows your latest posts. So under general settings then, and we'll go over this a little bit more in detail, under reading, I can choose to then say my front page is a static page that I have named welcome, because I always ran into trouble. So I ran into trouble here and there with the naming convention home. What I really ran into trouble with was do not name your homepage template home.php. There's one thing that you remember from this class. Do not name your homepage template home.php. You'll get conflicts. Instead, name it front-page.php. We'll go over that down the line. But I can then say posts, I can select a section where that shows up, okay? Again, here's my list of pages. Here then is a list of, here's the Jet City Improv case study that I've meant to write for the last 5 years now. You have a lot of those, don't you? Yeah. Yeah. You know,
A lot of what?
just a lot of stuff you haven't gotten to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 I have portfolios.
Yeah, you did. You do.
Step one.
Did you fix the forms?
Not yet. No.
So that falls under the category of something you just haven't gotten to yet
Right. Any, yeah.
since the 70s. So we've pretty much talked about. You guys kind of get the understanding between pages and postings, right? Any questions on that? No? All right. So if we go to then the spring schedule here. For this week, we have talked about syllabus, resources. Well, we didn't really do resources. We just pointed out, you know as well as I do that I have resources in my site. If you have any resources that you want to post as a comment, please do so. Read Beck, Introduction, Friedman Chapter 1, and do at next week, at the end of next week, is the Choose Your Project site. So, again, what are you going to have to do in this class? You need to choose, or you need to find and choose a website project for your assignments in this class. The project you pick will be your selected website project for the rest of the assignments and will be finished as your final project. This should also end up being a portfolio piece for you. Okay. So, the final outcome must have at least 4 main pages, with one page having at least 3 subpages. So therefore, all pages can be 100% fake. I don't care. I just don't care if they're real or not, right? Because all we're doing in this class is I am showing you how to build a site. Doesn't matter what the pages are called, if it's real or not. But the outcome of this class will be that you know how to develop a WordPress website. So, but to make it worth your time, if you took WEB200, I really, really strongly recommend that you use the site that you did in WEB200 as your project in this site. Okay? Again, let me show you what I mean by that.
Let me take a note so I can read it myself.
I strongly regret deleting all this stuff on the server now.
Yeah. Do you have it locally?
No.
Okay.
I keep my stuff very clean.
Because eventually what you're going to need to do here is you are going to need to make 2 templates. One for the home page and one for a main page. Okay? And in the home page, main page environment, again, you are going to need a spot that on your home page, you are going to integrate a slideshow like this. Okay? Whether your website that you're using in this class or not has a slideshow, it's going to. You can delete it later if you want to, for all I care. As well, you are going to need to have a spot where you will have an SEO paragraph. Where it is, I don't care. I just don't care. You will also need a spot where you can feed in 4 postings. We are going to just feed in the title that then links to somewhere else or links to a blog posting. If you want to, down the road, put a thumbnail image, an excerpt, and a read more link, I will let you guys do that. I will show you how to do that. Your main page then is going to need a spot where you have, I'm going to go out on a limb here, written text. Did everybody do that? Written text? Spot for written text on a page?
Can it be some of the way it is there?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm going to encourage you to use lorem ipsum. I'm going to encourage you to use lorem ipsum that has all of the, well, let's say it like this. Now that you have passed the test of being able to write your own H tags, P tags, and UL and list item tags, right? You are more than welcome to, at this point in time, for that text, because what we need to do is we need to test our CSS against headline levels 1 through 4 or so, paragraph tags, block quotes, ordered lists, unordered lists, etc., bold tags, or strong tags, M tags, so on and so forth. You are more than welcome to use this right here, right? Because at this point in time, if you don't know how to write a P tag and put a paragraph in there, there's something wrong, right?
You shouldn't be here.
Right. So I'm going to assume that you've been checked off for doing that. So therefore, you can, take a shortcut and use that.
Worry about the things that will work.
Right, right. That to me doesn't count as copying and pasting plagiarism, right? That's not what I'm worried about. If you copy some of my functions and use them that I'm trying to teach you, that's breaking the plagiarism. This is just being practical. Make sense? Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know that site existed. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm using the regular some generator.
Yeah. Which I still use if I just need paragraphs and snippets, right? I actually have on my website
Snippets that you can later do.
yeah, that I basically open this page and just,
Copy the whole thing.
yeah, because if I go to some lorem ipsum generators, then it might like give me like some div tags and extra markup that I don't want, right? So I basically have just a raw text file that then I use, so
Useful.
yeah, you're welcome to, I put it there for you guys too, is what I'm saying. So, but yeah, so you are going to have to, like I said, do your homepage and main page templates. So that leads me to, well, Mike, what if in Web 200 my templates that I did weren't 100% accurate to my final prototype that I turned in, right? That's what we were talking about the other day, Anna. So here's how you, in other words, if you used PHP, includes, and that kind of stuff, you're going to need to backtrack and go get your raw HTML. So how do you do that effectively without having to rebuild stuff? That's a rhetorical question, Milo. Let me answer it. You have something else to point out? Did I click the button? Yeah.
So we're doing this in
We are doing this in PHP.
But we're not-
For the proto site, for your templates, you're doing, again, just like in Web 200 when you did home and page template, I need those two templates for you to start out with.
But we're not doing header and footer includes here.
We will in the WordPress world. So let me show you. So in other words, here's what you should do, Milo, with your Web 200 project. Here's what Anna should do with her Web 200 project, and same with you, Adam. This is what you should do. So again, if this is your homepage file, Anna, that you need to convert into a template, right? Because this is your final site and it's got all the everything that it needs to.
It was bothering me.
The look on your face was like
Like, damn it.
you weren't going to be able to, like you were not going to be able to sleep until you fixed it. That was the look on your face.
It's like 10 minutes later, so I
Okay.
didn't want to sleep.
So if I basically view page source, right? Here is your homepage template. All written as one nice HTML document.
Yeah, okay.
See what I'm saying? So basically either download this and open it up as an index file, and same thing, go to this one that works because you fixed it.
Yes. I happen to be moving everything on my server right when you
When I was going to
the
it.
site, so I put
Yeah.
it all back and now it all works.
Yeah. And then here's your main page template. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense? Because I need for you to start out with this. Home HTML, main HTML, styles.css, right? Your style sheet. In mine, that's where I had Flex Slider. So I had the style sheet for Flex Slider. I also had a scripts folder. I also had an images folder and a fonts folder. So package this little ball of wax up as your templates that you are then going to slowly but surely turn into this, right? So you can see there is my main HTML template that I just left in the folder. Why? Why delete it? Is it going to bother me? Am I going to be able to sleep tonight? Hell yeah, I've slept for a whole year since I did that. Just fine, right? Or there's my main HTML, my home HTML, etc., my Flex Slider file, my styles original one with the comment here. And then I changed it because the naming convention that WordPress wants is style.css, not styles.css. And then we'll make all of the, and so then fonts, images, scripts, etc. And so if we go to page.php, right, here's where then we will be making our header include, our footer include, our sidebar include, and here is then the loop that we will do for the content area, right? So if I then go to header.php, right, this is where then from my template, instead of using the relative way of calling the style sheet, our theme is going to be buried within so that theme actually lives here in the themes folder in the WP content folder, in the WordPress folder on that domain. So instead of using just a relative or absolute path to call that style sheet, we would be using the WordPress function to go dig into our themes folder in our WP content folder, in our WordPress folder on our domain, to look for style.css to load as our style sheet. Okay. So again, what I need you to do is you need to create your client staging area or your portal page or whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, that looks like this. Follow this convention for me, please. I will get really, really annoyed if I have to go looking and looking and looking for where you buried your prototype, your GitHub repository, etc. If I have to send you more than 2 emails about, hey, where is this? I'm having trouble finding it. I don't think you should be allowed to be in classroom. You will have to pass that. You can stand out in the hallway and listen, but you cannot set foot in the classroom. That sound fair? Jonathan?
Hall of shame.
Hall of shame. True hall of shame. I'm kidding. Just don't do that to me. Right? Yeah.
So for next week, you want the client staging area done, that part I got. What's supposed to be linked to it? Is it just the templates?
Right now, your templates are not due.
So for next week, you just want the client staging area with nothing linked to it?
With the links there, though. Dummy links that go nowhere.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
In other words, what I'm going to do is I am going to, by next week, create this page where this is the spring 2015 one. By next week,
Now you put Easter eggs in the lectures, Mike?
Easter eggs have been in the lectures ever since I've been here. Is there one thing that I didn't see? Anyway, so I am going to want to link to your client staging area that you have up and running, that I don't have to. So here's what I'm saying. If I go to your client staging area and you've moved it 3 weeks into this project and haven't told me, what's my face going to look like on it?
Like angry, like a grumpy cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. That's kind of my point, right?
Do you want the code in the same repository for the templates of the prototype, or does it matter to you as long as it links to the correct repository? So can I put my prototype code in a separate repository and then my template code, and you'll be with that?
You could put your, so if you did it this way, where you made a template repository that then you used as your prototype repository that you just added to, that's fine. In other words, if your template repository you originally looked like this, but then grew to look like this and still has those template components in there, I'm still going to be able to see it. Yes. Does that make sense?
Well, my question was the opposite. So if I have a separate repository for my templates
Yeah.
and my prototype.
That's how I currently have it, and that's great.
All right.
Yes. Either or.
Okay.
The big thing is if I can find it.
Okay. Well, they're both empty right now, so.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. There doesn't need to be anything there right now.
But I already need them. So.
That's a slow clap moment right there.
What?
You said they were empty, you already made them. And that was a slow clap moment.
Oh.
I need work.
Yeah, yeah.
It only counts if you catch it, though.
I
You're
know.
not supposed to.
I know. He wasn't, yeah. So we should be slow clapping him. So does that make sense that that's because next week I'm going to want to link to your client staging areas, right? At the end of the week. So, and then, yeah, so what you will be doing is, like I said, if we go to Jenny's here, how I'm going to grade you guys is every week in super secret, whenever I feel like it, is I am going to go view whatever needs to be viewed. And I'm going to go look at your code. And this time I would ask that you do, so if I went back to header.php and then I looked for history, right? I could see going through the history, please, as you're committing things to GitHub, use the assignment name, okay? So that sound fair? And I will put that on my assignment page when Mark gets to doing that. You know what we should do? Because you're just sitting here really doing nothing, right?
No, I just some of the things I'm doing right now.
Really? Related to this class?
I just posted on your Facebook.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. So, because you should be constantly logged into my site. And every time I'm like, oh, Mark needs to do this, then you can just do it right there on the fly. We need to make that happen.
Okay.
Huh?
What are you paying him?
Whatever work study fees he's getting.
Just curious.
Yeah, here's
High maintenance, man.
what I'm saying.
Like,
Here's what I'm saying, right? Marcus work study. He is being paid to TA. Currently, he's being paid to post things on my Facebook wall. Currently, he's being paid to be my Andy Richter. Everybody knows who Andy Richter is?
No.
Conan's sidekick.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Still no.
Okay.
Huh?
Still no. I never watched Conan.
He's my Ed McMahon, except way cooler.
So in setting up repositories in GitHub, I may be jumping way ahead of things.
Uh-huh.
Do you want us to add a .gitignore? Do you want us to add a license? Do you want to add a readme?
I don't care.
Don't care. Okay.
As long as I can check your assignments week by week,
Do whatever I want.
you can write
Okay.
poems in there to me.
Okay.
Happy to. Do we get extra credit for that?
No, I don't give any extra credit.
Oh, that was unfortunate. Not even if I flattered you or something.
Nope.
I brought in cookies and I didn't do shit.
What if
We did
What if I take you to a bar? No? Still?
Paige just brought me and didn't do anything.
I made you a shirt.
You made me a shirt and you've gotten no extra credit.
Nothing.
Just a hug every now and again.
Sometimes.
That's it.
It kind of sounds like maybe we need to be talking to Mark about this.
Extra credit.
I don't know.
I'll give you tons of extra credit.
Yeah, I don't give anybody, I don't believe in extra credit.
Mike,
What?
Mark, what kind of cookies do you like?
Chocolate, definitely.
Mark will not have access to my grade sheet. Just to my site.
Isn't the site the important one?
So I upload a grade sheet to my site that you can't edit.
Makes sense.
I mean, I'm sure he could figure a way in there to edit.
Depends on how good the cookies are.
Yeah, yeah. But other than that, you know. Okay, so does that make sense on what I want by the end of next week?
Yes.
Like I said, your Web 200 projects make great projects, right? Or if you didn't take Web 200 and you took Web 120, those make fantastic projects. Even your Web 110, I don't care, you know? All you're doing, it doesn't matter what it looks like, right? It doesn't need to look fancy schmancy, that kind of stuff. It just needs to function the way I want it to function in here. That's all I care about.
To clarify, you want us to use something we've already designed and built. So
Something that you've already built, yes.
Okay, so we won't be using any of our time and energy in this class on the design.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. What I don't want you to do is download a template that you did not build. Yes. That's the important thing. Right. Yes. All right. Any other questions? All right. Let's all say goodbye to Bree.
Oh, I have
I
one
agree.
more question.
Oh, wait. Well, 1, 2,
Do you
3.
have the flex-
Bye, Bree.